step aside, going by the several of the controversial issues, policies her government threw up, but she will remain in that office until October 28, when a new person will come up. We're also being told that Boris Johnson is trying to make a comeback. Will he repeat the history of Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel? We'll wait to see all of that in the next 1 week, Abulo.
Teve, good morning, and good morning, dear listener. Let me start from the Liz Truss. Most persons have said, when are we going to have such leaders in Nigeria, where you said you are not meeting up your mandate and you have to step aside? No force, no protest, no placard carrying supporters, no party members. Even her own party members were among those that were shouting in the parliament yesterday, saying that you have not met the mandate you are given, and that the economy is suffering for it. And you see, some persons will say that is a developed economy. It's not a developed economy. It starts from the inside, from the person you are. How reasonable are you? How conscious are you that your actions and inactions is affecting the next person? That is the reason behind Liz Truss stepping down. She felt, oh, if I'm doing this much as a former foreign secretary, I've traveled, I'm making some discussions with the president of France, and I was at the UN, and even though the US president picked holes in some of her comments, she was still bold and confident. But at the end, she threw in the towel. How many Nigerian leaders will voluntarily throw in the towel when ASU is on strike for over 200 days? How many Nigerian leaders will throw in the towel when our roads are impassable? How many Nigerian leaders will throw in the towel when the insecurity is unbearable? How many leaders will throw in the towel when the hospitals are not working well? How many will throw in the towel when you have consistent, persistent fuel scarcity, even when with the promise that you say that 200 trucks are coming to Abuja? Look at the queues are longer than ever. This is a lesson for Nigerian leaders, and we beg the leaders. I'm not forcing them. We beg those aiming to occupy public office, TV. They should learn how to be human first and foremost.
Maybe perhaps that's the difference between a parliamentary and a presidential system of government. Don't forget here, despite the fact that she's stepping down as the British Prime Minister, she will remain a member of Parliament.
Very well.
She will also be a member of the Privy Council that advises the British monarch, that's the king now, and all of that. So perhaps there is a system, in a parliamentary system of government that addresses that. But don't also forget, in Nigeria, we've also had good examples.
Kemi Adeosun.
You can't take that away. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala also stepped down when she was deployed from financial.
Yes, but
foreign affairs.
Kemi Adeosun's own is not for her ill performance. It was because of her certificate, her NYC. That is a different thing. Nobody is talking about Liz Truss certificate, whether it's complete or not complete.
No, I'm talking about people having the courage to resign, to step down from public office.
That takes me to a comment credited to the first lady, or the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, where she granted an interview to BBC. It's streaming on Daily Trust paper this morning. She said that we have not met the yearnings of Nigeria. That is a sincere comment.
Yeah, we don't know
if we have met the yearnings. That is a sincere comment. It's a sincere response from a highly placed woman. That is a mother. That is a woman that cares. That is a woman. Some persons have said, why didn't we even campaign for her in 2015 to be our president? But you see, if persons have come out sincerely to say, this is how I feel about the economy, this is how I feel about the progress of our policies, this is how I feel about where we have been coming from, I think we should clap for them and for the sincerity. But some persons will say it's coming too late in the day. It's just about less than 1 year, the end of her husband's tenure as president. Anyway, in 2019, she also made a comment like that she doesn't think we have done enough. However, still give us the mandate, give the APC the mandate to try and correct it. But it is failing. Just like Adamu will tell you, Minister of Education, that in the first tenure he didn't meet, he planned to reduce the out-of-school children by 50%, but unfortunately he couldn't do that. He sincerely said that, and he tried to bring in the BESDA program, to bring in more funds to see how they can achieve that. But unfortunately, the out-of-school children are still 20.something million. Away from that, we need leaders that are sincere. As we go into 2023, TV, we need leaders that will own up. The Minister of Water Resources has been running his mouth. I'm sorry to use that word. I'm sorry to use that word on air, but he has been saying things about the flood at TV. How do you want persons who are sleeping in their houses and flood move them away, and they hear the minister not having compassion? And you are saying that it's just about 1% of the Lagdo Dam that is causing the flood. It is torrential rainfall, blah, 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 blah.
Indeed, the response of the federal government to the flood disaster leaves much to be desired. And clearly you understand that it's based on the advice or the actions or inactions of people like the Minister of Water Resources. Interestingly, his state, Jigawa, was one of the first that suffered the flooding. About almost 100 persons, died in that. And he's right indeed to say that the rains were much. In Jigawa, yes, we agree, but in other parts of the country, definitely, as much as the rains were a part of it, we also know that several things that should be done, like construction of the dams, like dredging of those rivers, have not been done. And our concern is he's not advising or talking in this direction. The good thing is, in a matter of 7 or 8 months, he will leave office. Perhaps the next person that will be appointed in that office will help the situation moving forward, where we'll definitely be talking of different things, as it were.
You talked about the Tinubu's 80-page manifesto. And today, the president, Muhammadu Buhari, will be inaugurating the Presidential Campaign Council
and unveiling
the manifesto. Wow, lovely. And this same time, we have the Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of Labour Party. He's visiting flooded communities. We saw him taking a boat in the community somewhere, riding a boat to see the flood situation. And he has suspended his campaign and he has appealed to other presidential candidates to suspend their campaigns to see how they can save lives that have been lost, properties that have been destroyed. And we have the presidential candidate of the PDP is on business tour in Europe, in France specifically.
There were reports that he should be back by last night.
Okay.
But we'll confirm that.
Okay, we'll confirm that. So now we expect the Presidential Council of the APC to come up with their list. PDP has 600, Labour Party has about 1,000 plus. NNPP, we've not seen their own, and APC, we don't know what they're going to bring, and we're already here that the Christian Association of Nigeria can say it's going to scrutinize the list of the campaign list. I don't know why we have to overburden ourselves with this thing. Let the list come out and let whoever wants to be there, be there. All we want is for persons to have issue-based campaign, persons to be own up to their failures, and persons to be convincing enough when they go campaign on what they plan to do. You've seen Liz Truss. I said even her party members were among those shouting. Is it that her programs were not aligning with the Conservative Party? That is why we keep asking. Forget about the list. The manifesto of the candidate and the program of the party, are they aligned? Are they harmonized? So that the candidate will not come and be doing his thing while the party is doing their thing somewhere else.
The list of the APC Presidential Campaign Council is actually public knowledge. It's been officially released by the secretary of the party. Even on social media, I saw some persons who are on it celebrating.
It's up to 1,000.
I don't know. I've not seen it, but the number of persons who are on the list were sharing it, online. As it were. But moving forward, I think with like I observed with the manifesto, we'll now have issues or talking points. We are being told that Tinubu is prioritizing national security in his 80-page manifesto, and he has promised the fourth industrial revolution for Nigeria. We'll see the roadmap on how he intends to achieve this. When we talk of fourth industrial revolution, we're talking of a process-driven by information technology, a process driven, where we've seen robotics and several of those. So we'll see how we lift ourselves from where we are to that point. We'll see. What I'm interested in is to look at that roadmap. Perhaps by Monday we might have copies of this. I'm sure it will also be online. We'll look at it just the way we also scrutinized or started our discussion on that of Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. We'll also take a look at it by Monday and maybe make a comparison as it were.
You were not here on Tuesday, I think Monday or Tuesday, when we discussed with Amici on the president warning that his ministers should not abandon governance for politicking. And we hope to see, or we're waiting to see, because we said the other day that a Festus Keyamo should be resigning if he doesn't want the wrath of the president's warning. So if this list contains persons that are serving in government, which means the president has not lived up to his words or to his warning, which means he was just talking, as we said that day, because talk is cheap. He just wants to pass a warning, a passive warning that will not hold weight. We hope to see if this list will contain serving ministers or serving government officials. It goes a long way to say that we don't keep our words. What we have said, we do. We're not keeping them, because you have warned in the public knowledge. It's public knowledge that you have warned them not to abandon governance. So if you involve them in presidential campaign list, there's much to think about that.
I'm sure to every rule there's an exception. Perhaps if he grants approval to those who are on the list, or those who will be, because I don't see a situation where the party's presidential candidate, for instance, is visiting a state or where a minister comes from and the minister will be in Abuja. I'm not saying the minister cannot be there, but if being a member of, as a presidential campaign council, you have a lot of work scheduled. There are some that say they are director of infrastructure in some presidential campaign. I don't know what that means. We all know the role of ministers of state, for instance. Minister of State is to be
Minister of State.
Yes,
is assisting the main minister.
So, but we'll wait to see. Like I also said, perhaps the president would grant concessions where requests are made that he should, some of the ministers should be involved in one way or the other. As it were.
Are we going to see something like the presidential campaign where persons rush to pick forms and at the end of the day they ask them to
we'll wait to see.
Resign?
We'll wait to see. They are also trying to see how they can bring the other former presidential aspirants, the Vice President of Sibajo, Senate President Ahmed Lawal, Amechi, and the others on board. The party's national chairman said discussions are on, to reconcile them. As it were. We'll get to other talking points after this break. We'll take your mails.
On your first day on the job, this is what you